Everybody here? Okay, we'll call the September 29th Select Board meeting to order. We go through the remote open meeting script. Here's the public participation guidelines. We're using Zoom webinar for meetings, which allows for the public to participate in the meeting as attendees. Attendees must register to participate. People registering to be attendees must use their names, otherwise they will not be allowed to participate. Attendees will join in listening mode. You can click the raise hand button if they wish to speak. I will call on those who have raised their hands in the order they are raised. All questions should be directed to the chair. All right, committee confirming member access. Okay, for select board members, please let me know if you're here. Call your name. Melissa Murphy.
Here.
Christy Ferrantella.
Here.
Matt Fee.
Here.
John Holgate.
Here.
And I am here as well. Okay, and staff. So I see here Erica Mooney.
Present.
Ken Bogrant.
Present.
Mr. Brian Turbot.
In attendance.
In attendance. Roberto Santamaria. I can see you and hear you.
Present.
Thank you. Libby Gibson.
In attendance.
Amy Baxter.
I'm just here.
And did I miss anybody else? John Giorgio from KP Law is here.
Here.
Anticipated speakers would be Mr. Bob Williams. Thank you for being here,
Here.
Bob.
Here.
John Brescher.
Here.
Hey, John. And see Ali Pinta. Hi, Ali.
Hi, here.
And I think that's everybody. If you're not speaking, please just turn off your video and mute, so we're not distracted all night. I appreciate that. And I have a little more to go here. Just the open meeting of the select board is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment, as previously noted. Okay, a couple things for the Zoom meeting. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that you've been provided, members of this body, are available on the town's website. And we're now turning to the first item on the agenda. We have accept the agenda. No changes to the agenda that I know of. Libby, over to announcements.
Thank you. There is just the one new business item.
Right. That's not a change to the agenda though, right? Is that just a new business?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so announcements. This meeting being video and audio recorded as mentioned. The vaccine clinics are as noted on the agenda. They are currently taking place at the First Way School admin site on Thursdays from 4:30 to 6:30, Sundays from 12 to noon. And that may be changing soon. Roberto will probably cover that in his report. F Street pier repairs are starting Monday, October 4th. The pier will be closed temporarily while the repairs are being made. And while it is closed, the Jackson Point boat ramp is available. And we do have, before we get to the select board announcements and comments, we do have an announcement from Mary Longacre. I think she is going to mention some information about the upcoming, what are they called? Fall Fun Days?
Yes, Fall Fun Day. Thank you, Libby. So then thank you, Erica, for displaying that map and that abbreviated schedule on the screen. Just a quick reminder, this is not the full-size island fair. We're using much smaller spaces, so we can only accommodate a relatively small number of people compared to being out at Tom Nevers. But since it's later in the season and we aren't offering all the activities of the fair, for instance, there won't be any games for adults, which means we're not trying to do a skillet toss downtown. We hope people will temper their expectations and simply enjoy what we can offer. We'll be having a harvest exhibition, the Nisha Dog Show, a few kids games and crafts, a scavenger hunt activity, and live entertainment, including puppet shows. So please see our website for full details, nantucketilandfair.com. One of the biggest changes is that we have a capacity limit in the Athenaeum Garden for the kids' games. We're using a timed entry ticket system to allow a group of people in every half hour. You can pick your time in advance and get your ticket in advance so that you can plan your day. And we've also changed the games to a suggested donation, $5 per child or $10 per family instead of a price per ticket. To support the fair, you can also buy a t-shirt. We have a new design available this year in sizes from toddler to adult, and some of the classic design t-shirts are also still available. All of the money collected by the fair goes to pay the expenses and supports next year's fair. We've added a lot of new details for Saturday, as well as some frequently asked questions on our website, along with the expanded schedule. And I also wanted to note that there are several other free family-style activities available on Saturday, not offered through the Fall Fun Day, but offered from other organizations, some of which are partnering with us. So for instance, the Clean Team is meeting at Jetty's Beach and at the Handlebar Cafe at 8 a.m. There's a Walk a Mile for a Safe Place event at 9:30 at Children's Beach. The Nantucket Athenaeum is open from 9:30 to 4. The Nantucket Skating Club has an open house at the community skating rink on Bacchus Lane from 10 to 10:50 before they come down to the American Legion to open their bake sale at 11. And I'm told you don't want to miss the hot off the grill lunch available at the Legion, which features their famous quahog fritters. The NHA Whaling Museum and Discovery Center is open from 10 to 5 on Saturday. They also use a timed entry ticket system. You can reserve tickets on their website. And the Artists Association Gallery is open from 10 to 5 with their 10 by 10 show, which includes works from both members and non-members. So you may have somebody that you know who has a piece of art in that show. And then finally, Stand Up and Learn has a free performance at 12:30 at the White Heron Theater from their kids comedy program. So while there are events for the Fall Fun Day, there are lots of other things going on in town, so you can make a full day out of it. Again, check our website, contact the Island Fair Committee with any questions. We have links on the site for our email, Facebook, and Instagram account, nantucketislandfair.com. And lastly, thanks to our core group of about a dozen volunteers. If you can lend a hand, volunteer sign up is still open through the link on our website. So that is the update for the Fall Fun Day. And if I have your permission, I also have an update from the Coastal Resilience Advisory Committee, completely unrelated. May I go ahead with that?
Go ahead, Mary.
Thank you. So we have just received this afternoon a printer-friendly version of the draft Coastal Resilience Plan. And so that is available on the town's website on the project page for the Coastal Resilience Plan. We have also scheduled a extra meeting of the Coastal Resilience Advisory Committee for next Tuesday, October 5th at 10 a.m. on Zoom. And that meeting is specifically allocating time for the public to ask questions and offer comments on the draft Coastal Resilience Plan. So we definitely encourage people to attend that. We had about 35 attendees at this week's meeting with only 3 days notice. So we're trying to get the message out that there is another opportunity. You have a week to review the plan and to gather your comments and questions. And you can also submit them by email. And that address is nantucket.crp@arcadis.com. So we're looking forward to interfacing with the public and hearing opinions on the draft Coastal Resilience Plan. And thank you very much.
Anything else, Libby? Okay, there's no follow-up comments from prior select board meetings. You can open it up for public comment for anything that's not on the agenda. We want to give a couple seconds for that. Those hands up. Okay, I don't see anything for public comment. COVID-19 update, Public Health Department. Hi there, Roberto.
Hello, how's everyone doing? So COVID update's doing pretty well, same as last week. We're down to a 2.67% positivity rate, which is really good. The BioBot report came back today, which showing no more than 1 case per day. So that is phenomenal. We're back to pre-summer times now. We just need to keep it. As Libby alluded to earlier, we're going to be tomorrow is going to be the last clinic for COVID-19 at the school parking lot. And it's also going to be the last Thursday clinic. We're moving it over to the Nantucket's ugliest building at 131 Pleasant Street. The trailer on Sunday mornings, Sunday afternoons, sorry, from noon to 3 o'clock. So please keep that in mind if you're looking for doses. What we're doing is we're now doing the third doses for 65 and older. If you feel like if you want to qualify for that, if you want to do your third dose, please go to the COVID website on the town COVID page on the town website, and that'll take you to a typed form so you can sign up for an appointment. We're doing those on the third doses on appointment only because there can still be exposures and things like that. We are not doing third doses for immunocompromised people below the age of 65 yet. We're still working on some logistics for that first. And then the FDA has submitted their, well, not the FDA, Pfizer has submitted their data to the FDA, and we should be getting a final decision on COVID vaccines for youth within the next 10 days or so, 10, 14 days or so. So hopefully we should be able to start vaccinating youth soon. And with that, that's it. We're moving our doses back to just once a week, and that's going to include this Sundays from noon to 3.
Thank you, Roberto. Bob, could you mute, please? We can hear your paper shuffling. Sorry about that. Anything else, Roberto?
Nope, that's it.
Any questions, comments? Okay, well, that's a great sign, Roberto.
It was a public handoff, so we'll see.
That's okay. I'm just making sure no select board members. Okay, go over to Mr. Little.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Roberto. A quick question for Roberto. In our family's case, Betsy had Moderna and I had the Pfizer. So possibly I would qualify for the third dose of Pfizer at age 72, Betsy at 68. Would she do Pfizer paired with Moderna or what?
It is possible to get your third dose as Pfizer. The CDC recommends that if you can get access to Moderna, please stick to Moderna. However, in the absence of options, you can do your third dose through Pfizer.
Thank you very much, Roberto.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Board? Okay, thank you, Roberto.
Thank you.
We do have some new business. I think Libby and Erica are gonna walk us through that, and then we have Hillary Rayport coming on.
Ms. Rayport submitted a letter. I think in a nutshell, she can certainly explain the letter. She's a member of the Nantucket Historical Commission. That group has applied for a CPC grant to create specific plans for the rehab of a portion of sidewalks on Main Street, along which she is a property owner. So she has sought advice from the Ethics Commission, and they have advised that she seek a determination under Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 19, from her appointing authority, which is the Select Board, as to whether or not her financial interest is substantial enough to affect the integrity of her services, which she believes it is not, and we would agree. But she can certainly explain.
Thanks, Libby. Hillary, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I think Libby did an excellent job summarizing this situation. The only thing I'll add is just a little detail about the project. It's a grant application, which of course may or may not be awarded. But I would very much like to participate in the work and think it will make a huge difference to the town and is of broad interest. I am a stakeholder, but so are many people are also users of the sidewalks and have an interest in seeing everything in great condition. So I would just ask for your permission to go ahead and participate in this as a volunteer.
Thank you, Hillary. Any questions or comments from the board? Matt?
Yeah, move approval. Find that there's no conflict, substantial.
Second.
Okay, is that sufficient, Erica, John? We don't need to word it any differently? Okay, saw Libby shake her head. All those in favor by roll call, Melissa Murphy,
Aye.
Don Holgate,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Christy Ferrantella,
Aye.
Jason Bridges, aye. That passes unanimously. Thank you, Hillary.
Thank you.
Okay, we're approval of minutes for September 8th and September 22nd. Do we need to take those separately, or can we do that in the treasury warrants and in treasury warrants? Do them together, Matt?
Move approval of all.
Second. Second.
Okay, Don beat you out there, Melissa. All those at roll call. Melissa Murphy?
Aye.
Don Holgate?
Aye.
Christy Ferrantella?
Aye.
Matt Fee?
Aye.
Jason Bridges, aye. That passes unanimously. On the pending contracts, is there any questions or anything you want to go over, Libby?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that with respect to the first item, which is, it's really going to be more of a professional services agreement with someone who is going to be an independent contractor, Brenda Johnson, RN. This is in connection with communications and some amount of project coordination and communication for the Our Island Home project. And we have current funding available for this. The amount per hour is noted. There will be no benefits. Ms. Johnson would be, again, a contractor of the town. She has performed this, a very similar set of services for the hospital with their project. And it was pointed out earlier today that we do typically have a not to exceed limit. And I would propose at this point that be $50,000 and that further authorization would be needed to exceed that. And I think, but I'm not sure, that Melissa was going to maybe say something about this.
Thanks, Libby. I was just going to add for some further context that one, I fully support this position. And I think given the landscape of our current staffing through town administration, to make the Our Island Home project successful, it really does need some dedicated leadership and community liaison support. This is one of the most important projects for our community members. And I think Ms. Johnson is going to be an important community touch point for everyone to be able to talk to about how this project shapes as it goes forward. So I just wanted to offer that context and my opinion about that.
Thank you, Melissa. That was helpful.
The next item, just FYI, this is a project that needs an owner's project manager, the Wait Drive project. And ultimately, I think this will be probably covered by grant funds that we have. Brian might correct me if I'm wrong on that, but.
It will be.
Any other questions, comments on pending contracts?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Melissa Murphy,
Aye.
Don Holgate,
Aye.
Matt Fee, Christy Ferrantella.
Aye.
I think my internet's going. So do you say aye, Christy? Okay. Jason, aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Citizen Department request. Moving over to Nantucket Pond Coalition update. We have Mr. Bob Williams.
Thank you, Jason. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, great. Thank you.
Great. We have nothing but good news to deliver to the select board tonight. A coalition is defined as a temporary alliance for combined action. And we're pleased to have had more alliances this year than we've ever had in our history in the Pond Coalition. For tonight, I have three major updates. The first is in collaboration with Nantucket Land Bank. We have completed the first treatment of Phragmites and Japanese knotweed at Kansu Springs. Eric, if we can put up that first slide. This is the area that we treated. Yeah, there you go, where you see the lines. This is the area where the Phragmites had invested the marsh. And this was we found there was a large meandering creek under there that we didn't know was there, which could be quite beautiful when it's restored, as well as a number of like 25-inch wide tree trunks. There must have been a forest there, I guess, at some point. So it was a very difficult day of work. But, we're delighted to have started the first of a 3 to 5 year program down there to restore the marsh. And then, Erica, let's go to the second and third. This is the way it looks now, as you all recall, when you go down Orange Street. And then this is what we think it will look like when we clear. You'll be able to see all the way out to the harbor. And then this second image, I think, is maybe it's Union Street looking at the duck pond, where on the right side, I think the land bank has tried to sort of cut the plants, which is sort of a temporary measure. And then, Erica, the final slide will be what you'll be able to see from Union Street when we're clear. So when the plants are gone, the entire area will be open. Thanks, Erica. That's good on those. The entire area will be open to the wetlands in the harbor. The spraying and the mulching will continue from 3 to 5 years. Clearing the frags is the first step in what could be a major restoration of this area, including dredging the pond and restoring the proper tidal and stormwater flow, and basically reclaiming that marsh. In that the land bank now owns that property, the town used to own it. I know that Jesse Bell, the executive director, will be advocating to the commissioners that they partner with the town in the ecological restoration of the marsh. And I assume the DPW will continue to head up the stormwater and the sewer work. Libby, have I said this right? Do you have any comment on this particular project? I know we've met on it just recently.
Other than thank you very much for your help, Bob, and your very diplomatic and kind way of moving us forward.
Well, you're very thoughtful. I think it's the longest running civic project in the history of the island. So we said to Steve Lecco today, we're going to move it forward now. I think 5 years from now, Libby, it could be one of the most loveliest spots on the island. And I know we're looking forward to that ribbon cutting at the bike path when it happens. The second update is the shoreline restoration of Northern Hammock Pond. This includes the land bank property, Mass Autobahn's Lost Farm property with leadership provided by Sam Kefferston of Autobahn and also funded by abutters, and the treatment of 30 acres of frags along the entire western shore of Nantucket Conservation Foundation's Ram pasture, from the ocean all the way up to Millbrook Road. So our thanks to Cormac Collier and Karen Beatty and his team for their contribution in that regard. In that the plants have encroached up to 30 feet on both sides of what we call the narrows, we think this could double the narrows circumference. Let's look at the next image if we can. Erica, this is one of our favorite ones of the Marsh Master. This gives you a sense of the scale of the work. It's very difficult physical work. The conning tower of the Marsh Master is 14 feet high. So these dense plants, this was, I think, a long town property at some point, encroaching 30 feet out into the pond, are very difficult physical work. Thanks, Erica. That's good on that photo. So these two heavily trafficked public areas, Lost Farm, Mass Autobahn Lost Farm, and Rams Pasture, will now have open vistas to each other. You'll be able to see across the pond to both properties, and you'll be able to have access to the pond itself. The Consu Springs and Rams Pasture and Lost Farm alliances complete not only the entire shoreline of Hammock Pond, 170-acre pond, but also the island-wide campaign that we started 7 years ago to clear all the major public ponds of these invasive plants, which took root over 50 years ago. And it has truly been a coalition of efforts that have included the town, who's been in on it from the beginning, CPC, who originally got us started, thanks to them, Nantucket Land Trust, Nantucket Conservation and Residents Associations, Hammock Pond Association, the Mycomet Conservation League, the Land Bank, Mass Audubon, Nantucket Conservation Foundation, and not to mention the many abutters, joggers, dog walkers, kayakers, paddleboarders, and others who have collaborated with us and helped to support these initiatives. So we're very proud of that campaign, and that campaign, as you know, will continue for another 3 to 5 years across the ponds, particularly at Rams Pasture, Lost Farm, and Consu, which we just started this year. The third and final update for today is the continued progress in thinking through the rationale of dredging Mycomet Pond, the smallest and therefore most affordable great pond on Nantucket. The 2017 federal study made clear that the bulk of excess nutrients leading to harmful algae blooms and excessive plant resides in the sediment already on the bottom of these ponds, and the sediment needs to be removed for the ponds to restore their health. You can put chemicals or herbicides or algicides into the water, and we're thinking about that. Or you can dredge the sediment from the bottom of the pond, really the only long-term solution to turning back the clock on that water body. Now, we all think it would be really nice to have a crystal clear swimming hole at Mycomet Pond. But there's another reason we are interested in this project, and that is we like the idea of recycling nutrients from where they do harm on the bottom of the ponds to where they can do good, specifically in the landscaping business here on Nantucket, which you all know is a big and growing business on the island. We ask ourselves, if we already have too much nitrogen and phosphorus on the island, why are we bringing more in every year? Why don't we just use the nutrients that we already have? Working with Thais Fournier of Natural Resource Department and Emily Molden of the Nantucket Land Council, two of our top water quality experts, we've taken multiple core samples of the sediment of Hammock, Mycomet, and Consu Springs, having it tested for safe use and agricultural friability. Here's an image, Erica, if we've got it, of Emily Molden, I think, or it might be Thais, I forget, working with our limnologist, Dr. Ken Wagner, in the hard physical work of obtaining and cataloging these superficial core samples. This is very tippy canoe type, you got to dig it in 6 feet, you got to pull it out, you got to catalog it, you got to mix it, you got to get it to the lab. It's a lot of work, a lot of physical work, and they did a tremendous job in supporting us in this. Is there another image? Yeah. Okay, so that's Emily Molden along with Dr. Wagner taking the core samples. Thank you, Erica. That's good for that. We think these preliminary studies should precede the town committing substantial resources to permitting and designing a dredging project. Carl Jalame, John Pierce, and Eric Rogers of Toscana are partnering with us to help figure out if we can affordably access and then recycle the sediment nutrients into a long-term sustainable fashion. A surprise to me personally has been the revelation that the pond sand may prove as valuable as the sediment. This could double the inherent value of that asset. The recycling of pond sediment could add substantial sustainable ecology for Nantucket in the next century. We're also pleased that the high school, working with the Egan Maritime Institute has approached us and engaged us with the Sea of Opportunities program at the high school that will now focus on ponds and wetlands this fall. The 8th grade debate this year will debate the question, and I think this is really cool, should the residents of Nantucket work to restore the pond and wetland ecosystems to their original state? Now, these youngsters are the ones that are going to reap the benefits of what is being done now. They will be my age in 2070. And I think the island will be a much different place than it is today in 1970. So now is the time to get them involved, get them engaged, and get them thinking about sustaining our island together. In closing, I would like to thank the town, in particular, Libby Gibson and Jeff Carlson, and the Conservation Commission, and all the other conservation organizations, in particular the Nantucket Land Bank, for their help and support of our work over the last 8 years. We look forward to next year. We have a lot of fun doing this. We've learned a lot, and we really appreciate the support of the Select Board in the town. So thank you. And now, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Any questions for Bob? Matt?
Yeah, Bob, when you say you're treating the Phragmites, how is that? How are they treated?
The apex of the plant, the little flower at the top of the plant, is treated with one of two herbicides, either glyphosate or imazaprom. We are currently using imazaprom because there's been some pushback on glyphosate. And that herbicide goes down the stalk mat of the plant into the root ball and basically stops photosynthesis. Okay. And when you look at a big group of frags, you have to recall that that is all one plant. Those aren't individual plants. That's one big plant. So it stops photosynthesis. It stops the plant really from living. And it's the only way to mitigate them, to get rid of them.
Yeah, follow up. So one drop in the head will kill that whole plant? Or do you have, yep, that's it?
Yep.
How much? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and you don't have to touch every single stalk mat because all the stalks come down to the same sort of groups of root balls. And from that standpoint, once it gets down into the heart of the plant, you'll affect a lot of the stalks that are around them. So the marsh master drives through the plants on the conning tower so that they're very close to the apex of the plant. They have a wand and they spray that along the apex of the plant, and then the plant absorbs it, kills the plant. And then after the first frost, I always call Phil Bartlett and find out the right weather. We come back, we put a mulcher on the back of the marsh master, and we mulch the stalks into pieces. It doesn't look very pretty, Matt, in the first year. I have to warn everybody that when those stalks come down in November, it'll be open for the first time. But, the land's going to take some time to heal. And then you'll have next summer, new shoots continue to come back up, although there'll be a fraction of what was there originally. And those get sprayed and mulched. And then we do that for 3 to 5 years to really control. Then after that, you begin to think about restoring the landscape. I'm very curious about that creek that runs through there. And I'll be interested to see what the land bank and the town decide to do with the culvert under the bike path, I guess, which will become kind of a bigger box or a bridge or something. And when we were down there doing the work, there's an enormous amount of traffic on that bike path. I had no idea. There were people coming through there every minute. So I think it's a very heavily trafficked area, and I think restoring is a good idea.
Thank you, Bob. Any comments or questions? Christy?
Thank you. Just a comment. This is always one of my favorite updates each year. So I just wanted to thank you, Bob. And I think it's a great way to showcase a public-private partnership. And I just loved this idea of getting involved with Toscana and the landscaping companies. And it's just really showing that when we all put our heads together, we can come up with really creative solutions. So thank you.
Thank you for that. It's going to take a lot of work, and we're not there yet. But I have a lot of faith in Carl and John, and I think if it can be done, we will figure out how to do it and how to do it affordably. We cannot afford to barge spoils off the island. It's just too expensive. Either we can reuse them, or I'm not sure we're going to be able to do them. So, and I think for the kids to debate whether to do it or not is just really cool. I'm so thrilled to be involved in that. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate it.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Bob. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Jason.
all your
My
work.
pleasure.
Okay, our next item is a request for extension of a street blocking permit for the farmers and artesian market from Sustainable Nantucket for Friday and Saturday, November 26th and 27th. And on Friday and Saturday, December 3rd and 4th. This is all 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Amy or Libby?
I can comment. Eric and I were part of a meeting today with the licensing and event work group. So we went over these items to see how they,
Come here.
sorry, someone else talked, how they all went together. And the first two November and then that first Friday there in December during Stroll, where they will be at their original location alongside the post office there, doesn't present any problems with the other street closures. However, there is a public safety concern, an issue with moving it to the location, which would be alongside the old police station there and would abut the town restaurant and Pizzeria Gemelli right there, because for three reasons. First reason being that is the only route to go up to the right coming from South Water for public safety. We cannot block that off because otherwise you'd have to go all the way to Main Street. So that's the first concern there. Also, because of those two businesses that require not only access, but emergency exits from both of those establishments on that road. And also we do have the Cisco van, which we could move onto Federal, but other access issues on that road. So moving it on that Saturday, there are just too many reasons that it would cause a public safety and other issue. So the recommendation from the group was the first three there at their original location is fine. But that Saturday moving to the new location would not work in any way. Taking questions.
Okay, so let me just try to clarify this really quick, Christy. So the November 26th and 27th, you're fine with.
Correct. It's at their original location they are now.
So December 3rd and 4th is not going to work at East Chestnut Street.
I believe December 3rd, that Friday, is at that Friday where they're at their original location. I think it's one day. Erica, you can correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, so they're going to end up staying at their regular location at Cambridge Street in North Union for the 3 days, the 2 days at Thanksgiving and the Friday of Stroll weekend. Saturday, we can't accommodate the request.
Correct.
Okay.
In either location,
Correct.
because St. Mary's Fair will be going on.
Okay. Sorry, Christy, did you have a comment? I'll go to you, Matt.
Thanks. It was just a question on if there was any other location and if there was going to be any other street closures that day, with it being Stroll Saturday. Is there anything that they could do on a different street?
No, I think we have to remember, not only will we have Main Street in that area closed, likely we'll have street closures in the restaurant areas as well. So from a safety issue, not many. Also on that Saturday, we have so many other things going on. We are giving them those 3 extra days. There's also down at the A&P Park Stop and Shop parking lot where they do the food festival and things of that sort. So vendors can be down there and work with the chamber to be in that area too as well. So I don't believe there would be any likely areas that we could move in downtown. So we felt that was a fair compromise there, that they would have those 3 extra days. However, that Saturday is just so booked with Santa and everything else. So yeah.
Thank you, Amy. Matt?
I move approval for 3 days.
Second.
Okay. I was going to see if Allie, did you want to speak at all for?
I had written a little thing, but I'm good with the events committee recommendation, and I'll save you guys the time.
Okay, thank you, Allie. Sorry about the motion. I was going to go to her. So Matt, you seconded it? Is that correct? No.
Matt made it. I seconded it.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor by roll call: Don Holgate.
Aye.
Matt Fee.
Aye.
Christy Ferrantella.
Aye.
Melissa Murphy.
Aye.
Jason Bridges. Aye, that passes unanimously on those dates. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Ally. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Next up, we have a public hearing, but that matter has been withdrawn. So moving over to town manager's report for a monthly town manager's activity report.
Thank you. I think Erica will probably pull it up, but just as usual, we'll go over more of the things that we've spent the most time on rather than going through everything. We have a lot of plans, reports, and studies underway. We are working on an update as to implementation of the board's strategic plan goals for your meeting on October 13th. I need to get, I've got a kind of a backup on my desk here of a number of things. One of them is the Nantucket water quality, not the Nantucket water quality, the Nantucket sewer report and updated cost information that I have from our engineer, which I need to get on an agenda sometime soon. The facilities master plan, we've had a couple of workshops on that, and there's been some activity on that. Baxter Road long-term planning. You all had a stakeholder input, final input meeting on September 14th from Arcadis, and a final report is scheduled to be presented to you next week. I know we've had some requests about a report from town administration on Baxter Road long-term planning, and basically that report is the Arcadis report. We have been working with Arcadis and working to facilitate that study, which contains options for planning of Baxter Road, and that is the status. PFAS, of course, is taking a great deal of time, and we hope to get, I believe that Chuck Larson at last week's meeting said we are working on a public informational session in October. Lots of meetings going on. We're starting to look at 2022 annual town meeting prep, pre-budget prep. We've scheduled our departmental meetings for the budget. Those are taking place mid-October through mid to end of November. We have weekly, if not more frequent, DPW operations meetings. I'm involved in the Behavioral Health Steering Committee. Jason is as well as in his other role, but that's been taking a bit of time. Island Home, we're getting going on the communications on that and getting together warrant articles and things like that. Now that we have Brenda on board, that will probably proceed a little quicker. We're planning a retreat with the cabinet a little bit later in October. Events, I was a workshop speaker for the annual ICMA conference in October. The ICMA conference is taking place this year in Portland, Oregon. I'm not going to go out there for it. They do have a good amount of it will be online, and there will be some on-demand workshops, and Greg and I will probably be doing some of those. That is next week. Lots of projects underway. As noted here, we're some of the maybe more notable ones that are very current include the planning for the third sewer force main. SBPF and Baxter Road has taken up quite a bit of time over the last couple of weeks. We are having a kickoff meeting with the group we've engaged to prepare our DEI strategic plan. That kickoff meeting, I think, is not next week, but the week after. We've got an RFP out for a classification compensation study. We do have a committee handbook update that we will review with you all at some point. Again, that is in my queue to look at. Erica's been spending a good deal of time updating our fall and winter projects map and timeline to make sure we don't run into conflicts with projects. It is important for departments and others who are doing projects that are going to be involving roads and sidewalks in particular to let her know so that we can ensure that we don't have these conflicts. We are spending a good amount of time trying to develop a sustainability function within town government. You'll hear more about that during the strategic plan update. We're working on seasonal employee housing, site design out by the 2FG site. And we are trying to get procurements out right now for town employee rental housing and playing field maintenance. And then there's a couple other things there. Downtown sidewalk repairs are ongoing. I will mention that we're not really prepared to discuss it tonight, and it's not on the agenda anyway, but as we all know the HDC took some action last night on the trailer at 131 Pleasant Street, and we are currently evaluating our options with regard to that action. Let's see, we do have some items that were put on hold because of COVID, and some of the more major ones are listed there. We are trying to get them back onto either the drawing board or into a work plan. So those are sort of listed there. Personnel does continue to be a bit challenging in some departments to hire people, including the transportation planner, deputy DPW director for facilities. We are working actively on the DPW director. The assistant treasurer actually position has been filled now. The land use specialist for Plus, which is the position that handles HTC, has been filled. And pending is the park and rec director. And we are hoping to get an advertisement out for that position later this month or early November. We did meet with the Park and Rec Commission about it yesterday, along with some other Park and Rec related issues. And that's pretty much the report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Libby.
Thank you.
A lot going on. Mr. John Brescher, sorry about last week, but I didn't think you wanted to be here. None of us want to be here until 10 or 11 o'clock.
Much appreciated, Mr. Chairman. Not a problem.
So do you want me to run through each item recommendation? Do you want to give an overview? How would you like?
I'm happy to do whatever you'd like. It may be more efficient if you want to go through item by item. And I can give you a very quick sort of preamble of, I realize that many of these are not sort of worthy of a charter change necessarily, and some are more just a suggestion for internal mechanisms. So with that in mind, I mean, some of these may be germane for town meetings, some may not, but it's an overall study of the government.
Sure.